Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're with us today, you're likely already navigating the English language at a, pretty advanced level.
Yeah.
And honestly, the source material we're diving into makes a point of acknowledging that. It's a significant achievement, really.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Most learners don't actually reach this stage. So, seriously, take a moment, recognize how far you've come.
It's true. Getting to this level means you've moved way beyond the basics.
Right. You can handle complex grammar. Maybe you read detailed articles or literature, watch films without constantly needing subtitles. You've built a really strong foundation. You're like, good at English.
Absolutely. But the core question this guide gets into is, how do you go from just being good to being, great? Especially when the conversation gets complex. How do you speak English not just correctly, but with real impact, with nuance? The guide actually calls this speaking powerfully.
And that's exactly what we're doing in this deep dive. We're opening up this guide that's focused on mastering advanced English conversation.
Yeah.
We want to pull out the practical steps, the key insights it offers for building that next level of fluency, getting that deeper cultural grasp and, communicating in a way that feels genuinely natural. Impactful.
It's interesting because the guide right away kind of shifts the focus. It's not just about grammar rules or memorizing vocab lists.
No, not at all.
It's towards something much richer. The depth, the subtlety, the ability to really connect. It's about unlocking that powerful way of speaking.
So let's unpack what the guide sees as the big differences between, say, intermediate and advanced conversation.
Okay.
At the earlier stages, you're necessarily focused on like transactional stuff, ordering coffee, asking directions, talking about your job, the weather.
Essential building blocks.
Essential, yeah, but pretty straightforward topics. But the guide points out that advanced conversation is a whole different ballgame.
It takes you into expressing personal opinions confidently, sharing complex emotions, telling detailed stories.
Exactly, and navigating abstract topics, too. Things like ethics, politics, philosophy, culture. Stuff that needs more than just recalling facts.
And what the source really zooms in on here is understanding and using indirect language. That skill of reading between the lines.
Crucial. And also mastering how to adapt your language, your tone, even body language for different situations. Shifting between casual chat, professional meetings, academic talks.
And of course, naturally using things like idioms, phrasal verbs, figurative language, the stuff that really colors native speech.
It's moving from just functional communication to, truly expressive communication. Influential even.
And like the guide says, the goal is ultimately speaking powerfully.
Which leads us nicely to the guide's roadmap. It lays out this practical kind of immersive 7-step process designed for making that advanced jump.
Okay, let's dive into step 1. The guide kicks off with listening, but it's a very specific kind. Engage in high-level listening daily.
Right. The basic idea here, according to the source, is simple. To sound advanced, you need to consistently listen to how advanced speakers actually talk.
You need to hear how they formulate complex thoughts, how they deliver them, how they respond in real time.
Exactly. And the guide gets very specific about where to find this kind of input. For podcasts on complex topics, it suggests shows like The Daily, Stuff You Should Know.
The Moth for Stories, Freakonomics, TED Talks Daily. Lots of good ones.
Yeah, and for visual stuff like YouTube channels or video essays, it mentions Big Think, Crash Course, Vox, Veritasium for Science, BBC Ideals.
And for news and documentaries, the reliable sources, NPR, BBC World News, Al Jazeera English, DW documentaries.
It's a great list. But the guide stresses this isn't just background noise.
No, it tells you what to listen for. Like, how do speakers introduce ideas? How do they support them, conclude them?
Notice their specific word choices, too. The academic terms, the idioms, the casual slang, the words that convey emotion.
And their tone, their delivery, where they pause, what gets emphasized, how they might soften a strong statement.
Yes, it's active listening. Deconstruction, almost. And there's a great practical tip in the guide, too.
Oh, yeah.
For tricky parts, replay them. First with subtitles to get it, then without. Pause. Take notes on phrases. Look up idioms or slang you don't know.
That active engagement is definitely key. You're not just hearing it, you're analyzing it.
Precisely. Which leads perfectly into step 2. Expand your advanced vocabulary strategically.
So you already have a decent vocabulary at this level.
Right. The shift now, the guide explains, is about refining it, adding layers of nuance, expressiveness, making it sound more natural.
It's about mastering the words that give you precision and color.
And the guide breaks down the key areas to focus on. It's not just learning more nouns, it's mastering things like phrasal verbs.
Like brush up on, call it off, look forward to.
Yeah, those, and collocations, those word pairs that just sound right together, like make a decision, take a risk, break the news.
Idioms, too. Gotta have those for sounding natural. Let the cat out of the bag, hit the nail on the head, speak of the devil.
Absolutely. And the guide also emphasizes academic or formal expressions you'll need for higher level discussions. Phrases like, to a certain extent, or it could be argued that, maybe from my perspective.
And vocabulary for emotional tone and figurative language, like, he's walking on eggshells, or it hit me like a truck, she has a heart of gold. These add so much depth.
They really do. And the guide suggests tools for this. The free dictionaries Idiom of the Day, the Oxford Collocations Dictionary, Quizlet for practice, and especially Youglish.com.
Youglish is great for hearing words in context, right?
Yeah, exactly, in real videos. But the most critical thing, the guide really insists on this, is using them. You have to actually use the words yourself.
You gotta own the words, as it says.
Yeah, don't just recognize them, activate them.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on, step 3 adds a totally different dimension. Deepen your cultural intelligence EQ.
Ah, yes. This is where the guide points out something crucial that many learners might kind of overlook.
Which is?
That advanced communication isn't just about words or grammar. It's deeply tied to the cultural context. Understanding the culture adds this whole other layer of meaning.
It's those subtle things the guide talks about, like why a certain joke works in the US but maybe falls flat in the UK.
Or how Canadians might express disagreement politely, or the unspoken rules for small talk in an Australian workplace. The invisible rules.
So how does the guide suggest you develop this cultural feel?
By immersing yourself. Watch international English films, not just American or British, but Australian, Canadian, Irish.
Read widely, too, novels, memoirs, essays from different English-speaking cultures.
Listen to podcasts that explore cultural norms, humor, and importantly, engage directly. Join online communities like Reddit or English-speaking Discord servers. Observe and participate.
The goal isn't to become an expert anthropologist or anything.
No. It's more about developing an intuitive feel for things like humor, irony, sarcasm, empathy, politeness levels across different contexts. It really changes how your message lands.
You could know all the right words, but miss the cultural cue and poof, miscommunication.
Precisely. Which leads us to step 4, putting it all into action. Practice real-time, unscripted conversations.
Right. This step really stresses that just using scripts or pre-planned dialogues isn't enough.
Not for advanced conversation, no. You absolutely have to practice thinking and responding spontaneously in the moment.
So where do you find these opportunities? The guide suggests some practical, often free options.
Yeah, things like language exchange apps, Tandem, HelloTalk, finding partners through Reddit, like on Language Exchange, joining voice chats on Discord English servers.
Online meetup groups, too, using meetup.com maybe.
Exactly. And even using advanced AI role plays, like with ChatGPT, to simulate specific, challenging situations.
Like what kind of situations?
Well, the guide suggests trying things like a heated political discussion, or giving a presentation on the fly, maybe handling a tricky customer service call, or telling a personal story that requires some vulnerability.
Wow, okay. So the focus there isn't on being perfect.
Not at all. It's about developing your flow, staying clear even when you're thinking on your feet, and managing your emotional tone when things get complex or sensitive. It's building conversational resilience, you could say.
Flow, clarity, emotional tone, getting that muscle memory down. Okay, step 5 builds on this. Build long-form speaking practice.
Right, this one's about depth. The guide explains that advanced conversation often means you need to talk about complex ideas for more than just a few sentences.
You need to sustain the discussion.
Exactly. So practicing speaking for, say, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes on a single topic is really important.
And the guide gives some great examples of these deep topics. Things like, what makes a society successful? Should remote work be permanent? How do you define intelligence?
Yes. Or the impact of social media, banning single-use plastics, technology making us lonelier. Can money buy happiness? AI in education?
Dangers of cancel culture, the role of failure, plenty to chew on there.
Definitely. And the suggested method is pretty structured. Use the PRAP method: point, reason, example. Point again to organize your thoughts.
And crucially, record yourself.
Yes. voice memos, video, whatever. It helps you spot habits and areas to improve and get feedback from others, forums, apps, a teacher.
Recording yourself is always a bit painful, but so revealing.
It really is. And the guide throws in a bonus idea. Start an English blog or YouTube channel. Forces you to articulate things clearly.
That definitely forces clarity, which connects nicely to step 6, combine speaking with writing.
Yeah, this might seem a little odd in a conversation guide at first glance.
So what's the connection? Why writing?
Well, the guide points out that both advanced speaking and writing demand clear, logical organization of your thoughts.
Ah, okay. So practicing one helps the other.
Exactly. It trains your brain to build coherent arguments and explanations, whether you're typing or talking.
And there's a specific exercise suggested.
Yeah, it's quite effective. First, write a short essay or opinion piece. Then, say it out loud, like a mini speech. Then, write a summary of what you just said. And finally, discuss it with someone.
Wow, that's a full workout. Writing, speaking, summarizing, discussing.
It forces you to engage with the ideas and language in different ways. The guide mentions tools like langcorrect.com or Write and Improve from Cambridge for writing feedback, and ChatGPT for suggestions.
It really sounds like boot camp for organizing your thoughts in English. Okay, finally, step 7, review and reflect metacognition.
This is so important at the advanced level. The guide basically says you need to become your own coach.
Metacognition, thinking about your thinking.
Right. Being aware of your own learning process. It's key for seeing your strengths, finding those blind spots you might not even realize you have, and just making sure you keep improving.
So after a conversation, don't just move on. Actively review it. Ask yourself those questions the guide suggests.
Like, was my main point clear? Did my vocabulary sound natural? Was I too formal? Or maybe too casual?
Did I really get the other person's tone? What new phrase did I hear? And the big one, what would I do differently next time?
These questions turn every chat into a learning moment. And the guide strongly recommends keeping a conversation journal.
To log reflections, new words, track progress.
Exactly. It makes reflection systematic, a regular part of your learning.
That intentional reflection really is the step up, isn't it? Moving from just having conversations to actively learning from them.
Definitely. And, speaking of resources, the guide does pull together that list of advanced conversation topics we mentioned earlier.
Right. Those questions like, can money buy happiness? Great prompts.
Perfect for practicing those longer speaking turns. And it also gathers all the free tools mentioned throughout into one handy list.
Like Youglish for context, Tandem HelloTalk for practice,
LingQ for listening grading, BBC Learning English for authentic dialogue, Quillbot Grammarly for writing help, TEDease.com for content, podcastslaughter.ai for recording yourself.
It's a really solid toolkit for anyone serious about making this advanced leap.
Yeah, very comprehensive.
Okay, let's sort of bring this all together and wrap up this deep dive by looking at the source's ultimate definition of true fluency. Because it's maybe not what people think.
Right. It's explicitly not about speaking without an accent or never making a grammar mistake or knowing every single idiom out there.
Perfection isn't the goal.
Definitely not. The guide is clear on that. True fluency, as presented here, is much more functional, more human.
It's about being able to express your ideas clearly, confidently, understanding tone, subtext, nuance.
Being able to handle a fast conversation without getting flustered or panicking.
And fundamentally, it's about connecting deeply with people, sharing a laugh at a joke, defending your views thoughtfully, asking good questions that show you're engaged.
It's being an effective, adaptable, and, engaging communicator. And the guide really stresses that this advanced level isn't just about showing off fancy words.
It's about unlocking that ability to communicate more deeply, connect more meaningfully, and ultimately to create.
Create understanding, create relationships, create opportunities, whatever it might be for you.
And if you're listening, already operating at this advanced level, the guide offers some real reassurance. You are much closer to this state of true fluency than you probably think. The path is laid out.
Absolutely. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, something building right off the guide's closing idea. If advanced conversation isn't mainly about impressing people, but about genuinely communicating, connecting, and creating, what new possibilities could mastering these deeper, more powerful skills unlock specifically for you?
Yeah.
In your life, your work, your relationships, where could that deeper connection take you?